Another round of applause for two beautiful women sitting on the stage. So Naomi, let's bring it down to the business of what we have come to know you as. I mean, we're living in a world that struggles to understand how to balance everything, representation, how to give women a space, how to give the African a voice. But you maintain your space as an advocate. You have this global responsibility. You do it with such grace and strength. Describe that.
Basically, I feel I'm in an industry of fashion where the African continent is extremely underdeveloped and lacking of brands that we know so well, investment, opportunity, teaching skills, and learning about the industry from A to Z. So, being in the industry for 33 years and almost 34 years, I thought, well, you know, we're doing all of this outside, but then why can't you come in and put into the infrastructure? So it starts the conversation, and a lot of people are just like, oh, no, we can't go there. I'm like, why can't you go there? You know, what's the problem? What's the perception that you have? What is it that, you know, you can have the diaspora buy outside, but you don't want to come inside?
It brings me to your honorary grandfather, Nelson Mandela, and who he was or continues to be for the continent. And I would say, you know, put the word honorary aside. You have that streak of fire, you know, that internal desire to push Africa a lot more further. And so you're doing it to bring the African fashion industry into the global fashion ecosystem. Describe the journey, and if it all works, or when it works, what will it mean to you, Naomi?
I mean, I was 23 when I met President Nelson Mandela, and I really was not quite sure why he wanted to meet me, why he took me under his wing, and why he guided me for 20 years. And I realized in December 5th, 2013, the day he passed away, that, you know, I'm going to miss him so much. I have a big void in my life, but what is it that I've learned from this great hero of mine? And so I think things started to really come together for me in making sense of not just being in front of the camera, but to be behind the camera and to be one of the voices in my industry that fights for diversity on all levels, in fashion, in tech, in art.
You know, you're talking about wanting to fight. A lot of people come, they see the issues, they acknowledge it, they shrug their shoulders, and they go right back to where they're most comfortable. But you have participated in fashion-related programs from Johannesburg to Lagos. You passed through Accra, traveling the continent. You have seen the issues, and instead of walking away, you've actually tapped into your network. You've tapped into the connections that you have. For example, the relationship and partnership you have with Gucci. Now tell us how this helps make the African designer a little bit more competitive.
Those who know me, some know me in this room, I'm not the kind of person I don't accept no, and it's not about...
Is that your one friend?
You know, I'm like, for me it's, if you do something, it's not about, there's many words. I've heard many words over my career. It's do the action. And it's such an honor to be here. When I heard about this initiative, and then I got to go to Hangzhou and meet Jack Ma, the Alibaba team, I absolutely, no matter what today in this world, wanted to be here, because this is such a great opportunity and initiative to be a part of, to witness, to be at the very first one. This is something of unity giving back to the continent, which I hope the whole world takes notice, and not the continent of the starving, this. We are a new Africa. We have everything in this continent that we can utilize. We do not need to take it from its stone.
The continent that many people see sometimes, you're right, it's the continent where there's starvation and there's poverty. We do not deny the fact that there are, look at me, do I look hungry? We do not deny that there are problems. That aside.
But sometimes the Gucci initiative, so they made a mistake, and I decided from that mistake, let's find a solution. And the solution is let's give scholarships across Africa.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've done. And the first group went to Rome, I believe 2 weeks ago, yes. And I got to meet them yesterday and hear their stories. It was great. And we need more of that.
Yes.
We need more people coming in.
Yes.
And taking out of the country, teaching, and bringing it back home.
You know, and yes, there is so much that is also good about Africa. And that's what you're also trying to show. That even though, yes, we do have our issues, there's also the good.
I know the struggle. I've been there. It was not easy when I started modeling and the things I had to witness and go through. But I don't look at that as a hindrance or a negative. I look at that as my drive. And so it drove me to achieve and to still be sitting here. I shouldn't be sitting here 33 and a half years later. I shouldn't be still doing Vogue covers. But for me, if I said no, then there wouldn't be any representation. So I had to do it. And I wanted to do it for my culture.
The powerful thing is you had to do it, but you didn't do it just for yourself. You did it for your culture.
Yeah.
And today you are executive producer of Arise Fashion Week, which is also an extension of what you have to do for the continent.
I am so honored that Duka wanted to be a partner with me. It's, you know, last year we changed the Rise a little bit. We brought out journalists, and again, 25 journalists from different parts of different magazines in Europe, and they basically were like, we love it here, we love, you know, it's all about the pen is so important that what people write and how they can really put a slant on things. So now you have to come and see it for yourself. You have to feel it for yourself. You have to feel the magic, feel the peace, and feel the creative energy and flow that's happening in Africa right now.
The conversation, the bigger conversation we're having is entrepreneurship. You work with so many African fashion entrepreneurs. What is it that makes them so distinct?
Well, right now we're teaching a lot, and when we're asking people that are coming into the infrastructure and taking students and guiding them and making sizable donations is to teach them and guide them in a sustainable way. Because we also need to look at the environment and what's happening in the world. So sustainability, we've got 2 or 3 now that are focused just on sustainability lines, which we will show in 2020 in Lagos.
What do African fashion entrepreneurs have to offer?
Well, basically, this is what they had to endure, the hardships, where they could only make one collection, and that was it. So therefore, they couldn't get that collection out to magazines or multiple magazines because they only had one. We needed to bring people in, and we're still bringing people in, to get them produced, to be able to go outside of that to produce, to get to other countries, to get to buyers, to get to the right stores. So this is what we need.
And what
platform to sell their goods and to reach where they would never get to.
Naomi, what kind of support do you need? What kind of support?
I need a lot of support.
What kind of support? What must we do?
I can always ask, never for myself, but when it comes to something that I really care about, I can ask till it's blue. Yeah.
A lot of designers, models in Africa don't have the kind of, I would say, space and platform to be heard.
But this is a good time right now. We have never in the fashion industry had as many covers of magazines that we've had in the last year and a half.
Wonderful.
We've had a Duped, who is Denise, but in Australia, 6 Vogue covers in September. It's a world record. We've never had any black model ever be on a cover of Vogue. September I've had, but not 6 at one time. So things are changing. And yes, designers are now using more models of diversity on the runway, but now it's an optical vision. We see this, it's great, but now you have to pay the same and you have to have more inside the offices where, I said this before recently, everybody's setting up diversity advisory boards when there's issues and problems that arise of education and understanding to deal with the culture. But if they had everyone in the office, place at the desk within, hello? Okay, sorry. This wouldn't happen. So basically, that's what we're hoping for the next steps in my ministry.
Okay, so I'm going to be very careful with this last answer because we do have a lot of representation from government. We also have a lot of representation from across many other industries. So it's a very specific question. You are dedicating a lot of time, a wealth of industry experience, and millions towards positive change. What role must African government policies play in empowering young fashion entrepreneurs?
Oh, they need to embrace them more, absolutely. The continent needs to know that they have such amazing talent and recognize that talent and support their talents. So supporting the arts and creatives more is what we need from the government. And protecting your textiles.
Yeah. Yes, and I see our Minister of Communications wearing beautiful kente. Honorable Access Bonsu, thank you for doing that for us. Mr. President is always in his textile shirt, so you know that there is no faulting him for that. And of course,
now we got you, President Nana.
Yes, President Nana.
You're good, you just gave it, right?
Mr. President, tell me about that smile. Is it a smile of endorsement or is it a smile of we'll talk later?
We'll like to talk later.
Naomi Campbell, thank you very much for sharing this time with us and for your ability